All right. Good morning. What's up, yo? It's Noka2 coming at you with a new comic haul. It is Sunday morning, and I just finished bagging and boarding another stack of books. Thought I'd throw up a haul video before championship football starts. Um, First of all, as always, I want to thank everyone who has taken their time to watch my videos and post a comment. I appreciate y'all. And also to continue issuing the COPA statement that this video is not directed towards a children audience. So let's get started. So what do we have here in front of you? We have a toy. You know, I do buy quite a bit of toys for pop culture and nostalgia, and this item here was on clearance at Target or Target for $7, and I saw it, and I was with my son, and I said, "Oh, that's cool. Do you want to get that?" And he was like, "No, what's that?" And this is the Mega Man cannon. It's a toy. You stick your hand in it, and it makes cool sound effects shooting from like the video game. And when I was a freshman in college, my sister had bought a new car, her and her husband, and with that purchase, they got a free NES. So NES had come out a couple of years before, and it was a pretty hot game, and we didn't have that. And my sister was able to get that for me as I guess, a bonus for buying the car. And it came with Duck Hunt and Mario, which were great games, but one of the first games I ever purchased was Mega Man 2, and I love that game. I mean, that was a great 8-bit NES game. And so when I saw this, you know, obviously, it just brought back memories. I mean, I would play that game in college, and it was just, you know, Mega Man, he would have this blaster as his main weapon. He was blue, but then he would get other blasters that, you know, through the game that you could pick up that threw out fire, particle beams, blade saws, even vines. So it was wind, tornadoes. I mean, it was just a cool game. And I think they've tried to make a few renditions since then. I've never bought them. I've tried one before. It just doesn't have that same feel. I mean, Mega Man it's truly, at least in my memory, it's always been a 2D 8-bit game. And so when I saw that, he didn't want it, but I said, well, then I'm buying it for $7. It was normal retail price was $25, $24.99. So for $7, I thought that was a decent deal. So I thought I would buy it for pop culture and nostalgia sakes, and I'd put it there, here next to my Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet. That's kind of cool. And then one day I'll get my regular Infinity Gauntlet back from my son, who has, I guess, I can't think of the word, arbitrated it or confiscated it for his own use for now. Is decorating his room, but one day he'll grow out of it. A lot of the toys, he ends up growing out. I buy them because I like them too, but then he wants them, and then he gets tired of it and wants something else. So like I have this semi-large plastic Mario that was his, that's now in my office, and then of course there's Mr. Incredible that he wanted. Currently he has he has my Build-A-Figure Miss Clayface, and he has my Build-A-Figure Sasquatch, and he has multiple Marvel Legends that I really didn't want to open up, but he wanted to build a figure, so my wife overruled that and said give him the toys and let him build. Nothing's sacred around here. Anyway, So let's get started with the book. So here we have Detective Comics 1000. This was another one of the books that I got at the year-end clearance that Midtown has every year. $2.67. Great Jim Lee wraparound cover. This was cover A. I showed a couple of covers in a previous video that I also got at the sale for $2.67. Jim Lee horizontal midnight release of Detective 1000. I kind of regret not buying more because I definitely think I could have sold them easily for $5 to double my profit. I mean, double my cost, and then make those books free. But didn't think about it at the time. I should have. Then I got this cover here. This is the Midtown exclusive Francisco Mattina. Can't remember what letter it was because there was a ton of covers, but it's a wraparound virgin cover. It's called Arkham Knight, and Midtown was selling it at release. The virgin was $20, and I got that book for less than $5. I think it was $3.76, and I should have bought more of those too. But what else did I get at that sale? I got this at the sale too. This is a great cover, Jerome Opeña homage, Detective Comics with the first appearance of was it the first appearance? Yeah, I think it may have been the first appearance of Boy Wonder. Great cover. It was a 1 in 25 ratio variant that was. Let me think about that again. It was $2 and I want to say $2.67, maybe a little bit more, maybe $3.67. But still, whatever it was, I know it was less than $4. It was a great deal. So I picked that up. I like that comic. When it first came out, it was selling for $25 at ratio. It's not really worth that much because if you look on eBay, it definitely goes for less than $10. I didn't have this cover here. I got this also at the sale. It was $1. It's the last issue of the New 52 Batman. It is the Raphael Albuquerque variant, normal ratio, just basically the cover B, and I got that for $1. So thought I would show those books. I got a few other books that I'm not even sure why I picked them up. I just, when you're, at least for me, when I'm shopping online, I'll click stuff and not really pay attention when I see books on sale. So, like, these I got. I mean, these were quarter books, right? Year of the Villain. They're not worth anything. They were hugely mass printed. And I clicked on a couple of these. I think I bought, how many did I buy? I mean, a lot of places were giving them away, right? This was the Midtown version presented by Midtown. And these were like 6 cents. So for 6 cents, I was like, yeah, I'll buy a few. I couldn't remember if I got this or not. And that's the reason why I bought it. And so for 6 cents, yeah, hey, why not? Let's start with some cover price books. So these are some books that I bought that I am maybe a little speculating on, but I also thought they were very cool covers. I buy a lot of covers based on art. And when the miniseries Deceased came out, and I saw the variant cover by Yasmin Putri for Deceased #1, I thought that was an awesome cover. It's the variant covers. There were 2 variant covers. There was one by Mattina, and then they had the horror movie poster homage run. And I did buy all of them. I can't find where all of them are right now, but I bought them when they were released. And this one in particular, I went looking for because it's an all-black cover. I do get a monthly pull from Midtown, mainly so that I can get variants, because a lot of times the local stores here do not get them. And then we don't even have really a local store. We have a kind of a semi-local store that carries a few titles. but a lot of times they don't have the variants. And so the Deceased #1 homage to It, it's an all black cover, as you can see. And I went to multiple shops looking for this book in near mint. And so Midtown Limited did one, so I did get one from Midtown. But then I also went looking for more copies because I think this is an awesome cover, and because it's all black, it may be hard to find in near mint with no spine ticks. And so I did end up getting 4 copies of that total. I don't know where the other 2 are. I know they're here somewhere in my office. And then that was cover #1, the homage. Cover #2 is an awesome cover, also by Yasmin Putri. It's a homage to Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember seeing that movie in the theater with my sister. And, you know, it was around that time. I had to be probably 15 or, yeah, probably at least 15 because I was in high school. And it was just then that my parents were starting to let me watch R-rated movies. And this really was a great movie by Wes Craven. I think actually, from an originality standpoint, I really thought Nightmare on Elm Street was his best original movie. It was a great movie with Freddy Krueger. I mean, you know, he went on to do other famous movies like Scream, obviously the series. I mean, this obviously went on for like what 5 or 6 movies, I think. And Scream, and what else did he do? Rest in peace to Wes Craven. He had an impact on the horror genre. He did the House in the Hills, the Last House on the Left that they made reboots of. I used to be into horror genre movies, but you know, as I've gotten older, I've kind of got tired of them and don't watch those type of movies anymore. And so that was issue #2 by Yasmin Putri. This was the Mattina variant, which is, you know, he had some good variants too, and I did pick up quite a few of his Mattina variants, Francisco Mattina. I don't know where #3 is. I know I have it, but this is #4. This was by Tasia, who I've never heard of before as an artist, and this is the homage to Final Destiny, which I also saw in the theater. I didn't watch all of Final Destiny, but I did watch the first one, which was kind of cool, you know. So I thought I'd show you these books again, because I did end up buying 4 copies of this book. And, you know, I've showed this in, I think, one of the last couple of videos I did. The Artgerm cover B variant to Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy series. Great cover. Great cover. But then the issue #2, which is why I'm showing those again, initially when I saw it advertised in previews, I thought, oh, that's an awesome Artgerm cover too. But then when I looked at the credits, you know, it's actually Warren Liu, who also is a fabulous artist. I like how his colors pop. You know, it's very different. Once I really paid attention, it's very different to Artgerm. Similar, but very different. His Harley Quinn is much more voluptuous, particularly around the hips. She looks a little thick, right? My wife hates that word. She goes, that's insulting. I'm like, no, it's not. But anyway, you know, great cover by Warren Liu. And I got 4 copies of this also somewhere around here because I went looking for that. I think Midtown had a limit on this one too, to 1 copy per person. So I went out and got some more. Great cover. You know, Warren Liu, when Batman 50 came out and that PR fiasco for DC, Warren Liu had an exclusive cover with one of the retailers that I loved, but I could not find at regular price that the store was selling. You know, they hit eBay, Even as pre-sales, people had ordered them and they were selling for double the original price, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, as much as I like that cover with Catwoman, gorgeous cover, I just couldn't do it. So I ended up buying other issue 50 store exclusives. I think I may have shown in other videos, but I remember his number 50 was gorgeous, and I'm hoping one day I'll come across it and be able to find it at least at original release price by the store. You know, but again, it was, it was 3,000 print, so maybe I won't. They'll keep them in their collection. But if I find someone selling it for cheap or a reasonable price, I would definitely pick up one of the covers. So, and then the other cover that Warren Lee did for Harley Quinn was also very fabulous. It was, it pops of colors again. Poison Ivy is more voluptuous, more thick, and I love how he did her hair too. It's got the green leaves in it, and I mean, just an awesome cover too by Warren Lee. But I will admit, I still think I like the Art Germ cover better. It just looks more, I don't know, sensual. This is a great cover there with the colors popping. So. All right. So let's go with some quarter books. So I went to another quarter sale over the summer and got quite a few. I got quite a few books at the quarter sale. Went to 2 actually, and I picked this book up here. This is All-Star Comics number 59, which is a second appearance of Power Girl. Now I have 2 copies of this book already, and when I bought this book in the poly bag, it was a quarter, and I was like, man, that's in pretty good shape. It's got a crease there, little ding there. But the spine is sharp. There's a little corner drop there, but the spine is sharp. The gloss on the front cover is retained. I mean, and in the Mylar, it looks even better, right? I mean, that looks like a great copy. But it's not. I mean, all the pages are there. It's intact. The staples are tight. But the back cover is a white advertisement, if you know what I'm talking about, and it is dirty as hell. It's got some kind of, I don't want to say, I guess it is staining, but I'm not sure what kind of staining it is. It's not water warped from moisture, but it's just like, and it's not mold. So I'm not sure what someone did to this comic to make the back look so dirty. I mean, you can still tell it's supposed to be a white back page cover, but it is just dirty. So I downgraded this to just good, even though it presents extremely well in this Mylar, but I was afraid to even try to dry clean the back because it is a fairly old comic and slightly brittle. And then the other issue with this comic is the pages are borderline yellow. I mean, they're more yellowish than it is off-white. But again, look at that. The pow on the punch there, that is white. The all is still pretty white. The DC logo is fairly white. I mean, the cover is clean. And so I was surprised at first to see it in a quarter bin, but then when I got it home and rebagged it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense now. Now, this comic here, number 62, is in very fine condition. This is a sharp cover also. Corners are sharp. Back advertisement is clean. There's no spine ticks. It's complete. The pages are all there. No cutouts. Staples are tight. I think that's a VF copy for a quarter. And this is kind of similar to 59. Looks great in the Mylar. Looks fairly clean on the front. You know, whites are white still. Corners are okay. A little chipping right there, but otherwise sharp copy. But also still only a VG or G cover. I mean comic, because of the pages being closer to yellow than off-white, and then also the backing. The back cover is a white advertisement, and it's very dirty. You know, I think these comics must have sat in someone's garage at some point, even though they were polybagged. I just think they got, you know, maybe it's molding or something. It didn't look like molding because of the color, but it still could have been. But again, for a quarter, I wasn't going to leave them there. Totally Awesome Hulk number 15. Quarter, nothing significant about that. These books here I got for nostalgia reasons. So back when Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles came out, you know, it was like lightning in a bottle. It was a runaway hit. Eastman and Laird was, you know, doing great. They were selling out, making multiple printings, and then came the kind of, you know, I don't want to say copycats, but people trying to recreate that lightning. And one of the issues, you know, in small press at that time was always, you know, specialty comic shops only, right? One of the I mean, you know, they had, for those of you that can recall, there was Adolescent, Radioactive, Black Belt Hamsters, total nonsense. And then they had this book here, which I never, you know, at that time, I probably had my driver's license, but I didn't have a car, and so I wasn't, you know, we had 2 cars, and I didn't get use of it very often. And so it wasn't like, you know, my parents were going to drive me across town to LCS at that time, which was probably 35 minutes away. You know, nowadays people drive 35 minutes easily, but back then that seemed like a long distance for us, you know, gas costs, etc. So I wouldn't, my parents wouldn't take me all the way across town just because of comics being released. And so the Fish Police was one of those kind of comics, I think, that was trying to recapture or recreate that lightning in a bottle that Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles had success with. This book actually sold out, and they have, I think, 4 printings of this. This is a first print, and I always wanted to, you know, read it and see what it's about. You know, these books were all black and white. I saw this for a quarter. The cover is sharp and tight, and number 1, it's clean. Number 2, near mint, clean. Number 3, all black, you know, sharp, no spine ticks, no color breaks. Same for number 4 and number 5. You know, when I see stuff like that remind me of my childhood or nostalgia, a lot of times I'll pick up like the first, you know, 3 to 5 issues. And you know, I thumbed through it a little bit and didn't really interest me. Maybe if I get time, I'll go back and read it, because they're pretty thin. Also, they're not as thick. I don't think there's as many, you know, I didn't count them, but they didn't seem like they have the same amount of pages as a regular comic at that time, particularly for small press comics too. All right, so I'm going to talk about this comic here. So I got this comic. I did pay cover price for it. You know, when it got released, it was hot. It was a hot comic. And I got this from Midtown too. And man, it came damaged and beat up. Corner drop, a tear in the cover. On the back side, there's also a tear. I don't know who did this to this comic. And, you know, it was $3.99 plus the discount, 20%. This is Alien Symbiote Spider-Man Alternate Reality number 1. And it's by one of the Young Guns, Pepe Larraz. I can't remember if he's the Young Gun from 2019 or 2018. But great looking cover. I thought about sending, filing a grievance, but because it sold out at Midtown, all I would have gotten was credit, $3 or three, what is it, 318, 319, 320, whatever it would have been, because they didn't have any more of these copies. And Midtown requires that you file a grievance. When you file a grievance that the comic came damaged, that you send photos, you find the order number that it was placed with, you explain your case, why, and this has probably only happened with Midtown for me 3 times, and this is or 3 different books. And so I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. It's not worth my time. I had a previous book, I think it was Wonder Woman 51, cover B, Jenny Frison, and then I had a Gideon Falls number 5. But it just didn't seem like it was worth my time. Now, if this would have been a higher end book, like a ratio book that I paid, a little bit of money for, I definitely would have filed a grievance. But usually if you order something like that from them, it comes in a sleeve and it comes carefully packaged. So, but one of the things I wanted to talk about this book was this cover is a swipe of Volume 1 Spider-Man number 17 by Rick Leonardi. And, I don't know if the cover artist should always give props in their signature. Like, a lot of times you'll see their signature and then say after so-and-so. After, when you see the classic John Byrne holding Phoenix and what was that, 138, or the Spawn cover, number 1, homage, or not number 1. Yeah, number 1 is, swiped all the time, and so is Amazing Spider-Man 300, and everybody knows that. And I can't believe that Pepe Larraz is trying to swipe this cover without acknowledging Rick Leonardi. But there's no credit to him. And I just think that, in my opinion, if you're going to blatantly swipe someone's cover, you should give them props. And there's no recognition in the interior. There's no recognition on the cover. And I think in this day and age when, and again, I don't think he's trying to pull one over because this is just too obvious. In the original cover of number 17 of Spider-Man, Thanos' head is big. He's holding Spider-Man in his classic red and blue cover. He's got an Infinity Gauntlet on. Really, the major difference is I think you can see the body of Thanos in the cover. And, I don't know. I just think that he should have listed, in this day and age when there's a lot of question about originality, particularly with like Greg Land using adult live photos of people to doctor his images and use them as templates, I guess you could say, because they're in the exact same position and everything. Even the same accusation has been made against Francisco Matina with computer assistant graphics, etc. It's difficult to trust, I think, artists sometimes unless you know for sure. And and I'm not sure what the case is with this guy now. I liked some of his covers. I got quite a few of his Young Gun covers that I was like, oh, they're awesome. But then when I see this, and I know that cover, I'm like, it starts putting a little question in my mind. Again, I'm not saying that he intentionally tried to swipe this without credit because I don't know the guy, but and it's so blatant, but you start thinking. And then you have artists like Adam Hughes, who shows his artwork as he's sketching. You have Art Germ. I mean, there are artists now that I consider artists first that do comic covers, like James Jean. I put Bill Sienkiewicz in that category, that he was an artist that does covers. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there aren't comic artists that also do great artwork besides, you know, the comic genre. I've never seen, but you know, with their talent, I'm sure they could. I think of people like Jim Lee, John Byrne. You know, I'm sure they can put out some art, but I've never seen that. So in my mind, they're comic artists, but then there are artists that I think that are artists that do comics, like I said, James Jean, Bill Sienkiewicz, David Mack is another example. And then there's this guy here that's come on the scene. He was a young gun, I think, 2014 for Marvel. Marco Djurdjevic, and he's a West Germany native. That it's an interesting story. Is that he was a concept artist for video games, and Marvel came to him. So it's not like he submitted samples to Marvel to become an artist, but he was doing concept art for video games like Quake, and he had posted some Instagram pictures and some maybe some YouTube videos, and you got to give a credit to Marvel. They have a talent team that went looking for this guy and called him and said, "Hey, we'd like to meet you." And interestingly enough, he wanted to go back to his native country, his homeland of West Germany, but he didn't think that he would be able to find quality, gainful employment as a concept artist in West Germany, because a lot of video games, the majority of work, I guess, according to him, was that it was in America. So he didn't want to go back to West Germany and not be able to practice his passion. And so then he met with Marvel. They signed him an exclusive deal. The offer was great, and so he moved back to West Germany, where he resides currently. And it's interesting, is he has books out that shows the artwork of Marco Djurdjevic, just like Adam Hughes, just like Art Germ, James Jean, again, people who I consider artists. And he talks about in this interview how this was the easiest job he's ever had as an artist, because as a concept artist for video games, you would get he said he would get deadlines like, "Hey, I need a rendition of this by tomorrow, a concept art by tomorrow." And so he would have to not only sketch it, come up with the idea, the concept, he would have to ink it, he would have to color it, and then he would have to print it out and bring it in. And so this is kind of something he said was so easy, where he draws some sketches. Sometimes he doesn't even have to ink it. A lot of times he doesn't have to color it. And I got this book for $1. When I see his covers for cheap, look at Venom up on the top there. If his mouth kind of in the background, kind of get lost in the shuffle, but that's a great cover. Anti-Venom, Lady Scorpion, Morbius, Rhino. That's just a great cover. So I thought I would show that book there. I'll show a couple more books because it's getting ready to be 35 minutes. So some last quarter books. Fury of Firestorm, number 28. Near mint copy. First appearance of Slipknot. When the movie first came out for Suicide Squad, he was in it, so it had a lot of heat. It was going for as high as, $20-25. Now it's probably a dollar book every day. On a good day, you might get $5 for it. Impulse number 32. This was a cover series they did that month where it was close up of the headshot of heroes and villains. This was done in 1997, so I was pretty sure there was a high chance I didn't have this book already. When I see these covers for cheap in near mint, I buy them. But in 1997, I was in professional school. So I was pretty sure I wasn't buying a lot. Well, I know I wasn't buying a lot of comics, and so I picked that up for a quarter. Got this for $1. Tim Sale cover B, Batman Rebirth #1. Got this for a quarter. No, got this for $1. Supergirl Art Germ cover B. And then last three books: The Alien Alliance Invasion Book 1, Todd McFarlane early work, interiors as well as cover. Number 2, Todd McFarlane interior artwork. And then book number 3, he only did part of the interiors because these were 80-page books, and probably with a deadline. Bart Sears, I think, did the other interiors and he did the cover. And these were a quarter each, and because they have that square bound binding, to find them in near mint condition for a quarter, for a $3.95 cover price book. It had a little heat on there for a short time because there was some rumors that one of the DC Universe movies was going to kind of have some relation to this storyline. I don't think any of that really came to fruition. But for a quarter, I wasn't going to leave them there. So there you have it. A little long video, 36 minutes. I appreciate all those who stuck around to watch. Hope you enjoyed it. I still have some more books that I didn't get to in this video, but I will probably post another video later today or tomorrow. So hope everybody enjoys some football today. And, well, peace out.